Alright everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be installing this exhaust hanger, which seems to have deteriorated last when we were underneath doing our F80 shifter bushing installation. Noticed that it was cracked, ordered a new one, and hopefully this one is a relatively quick job, knock on wood. We're going to be installing the exhaust hanger, which is part number 18208572512. We've got a little bit of assembly grease, a silicone base, just to have it slide on, slide off a little bit easier. And we've got our exhaust hanger tool. So with that, let's go ahead and jack the car up and put it on jack stands and get underneath the car. We're going to go ahead and chalk up the back tires just before we go any further. We did put the car in gear, but safety first. Now that we have the chalked up back wheels, we're just going to go ahead and jack our car up and get our racing ramp underneath our driver's side wheel. Race ramp under there. Once that race ramp is under, we're just going to gently lower the car back down and go ahead and do the same thing on the other side. Perfect. Once we have the two racing ramps underneath our front wheels, we're just going to go ahead and find the central jacking point underneath the front of the car and slowly get it into position and then jack it up the rest of the way, just slightly above our two jack stands that we have positioned on the side. Once we get it far enough in the air, we can just go ahead and check on each side, make sure we're in the right place, and then gently slide our jack stands underneath the car. Once those are in the right place, we can slowly let it down and finally let the car rest on the jack stands. Next, we'll go ahead and get underneath the car. Alright, this is the exhaust hanger that's perished. You can just see the crack on this side. So I think what we're going to do is see if we can't just drop this, taking off a couple 8mm bolts, which is just some kind of heat shield and debris shield, so we can get a exhaust tool on this side. For the top one, I think we're going to end up having to pry it off. So with that, let's go ahead and see if we can't get off some of these 8mm retainers. Perfect. I think that should allow for us to get our tool in here sideways and then be able to hopefully pry it off, get it on there. Bracket just comes off. For the record, we're going to guess E11, E10. Okay, that was oriented like that. We can grease that up and get that back on, and now it's just this last bit of perished rubber. Do this one more time. And like ease. Should have taken off the bracket first. Big dummy. Live and learn. Get that on here. Okay. Now with that, let's get our new bushing. I think what we're going to try and do is push this top one on. Maybe what we can do is just gently push it on without the bracket attached. Is it going to let us do that? Oh, it is. There we go. Alright, that's all on there. Once we have that, we can hand thread our bolts back. Good and hand threaded. Let's get this other one on there. Hand tighten down, and then we'll go find out what our torque spec is. And with that, let's get our little 8mm back on for our trim bits. Nothing crazy. Okay, and then let's go find out the torque speculations for this. Let's go find out the torque specs for these two real quick. We did find the torque spec for it, and turns out we were a little high. It's actually just 28 Newton meters. So with that, we have our torque wrench here, and we're just going to go ahead and torque these down. All right, and that is that torque down to spec. So with that, we've gone through and changed the perished exhaust hanger on here that we saw with the crack. We did have to remove the shield, we did have to remove the bracket, and then it easily came off. We just lubricated it, slid it back on. So with that, that is going to complete the installation of the F80 exhaust hanger. Please stay tuned for more episodes of the BMW F80 from Ann Arbor series. Thanks for watching.